What's up, everybody? I'm Josh Meek, the Uber Geek. Welcome to Pretty Dece, your daily entertainment and pop culture show. Today on the show, we're going to talk about some video games because game developer Boss Key Productions is shutting down. Boss Key was run by Cliff Bleszinski. That might be a name that you're familiar with. If it's not, Cliff worked at Epic Games up until 2012, and he was the main person behind the Gears of War franchise. He was the face, kind of the head designer. He was the person kind of running that franchise for a time. In 2012, he left, and he was this kind of prominent voice in the game development community. He was a vocal figure. He left Epic in 2012 to form his own studio, and that studio was Boss Key Productions. So Boss Key has been operating for, a little over 4 years now, and they've put out 2 games. They put out 2017's LawBreaker and 2018's Radical Heights. Now, LawBreakers actually was pretty well received critically, and people generally liked the game from the things I heard and the things that I read on the internet, but it just couldn't find a spot in the extremely crowded shooter market. The online-focused first-person shooter rapidly lost its player base after it came out. It failed to entice new players and really failed to hook in existing players, even after going free to play. There's just too many similar games out there, and it's kind of too much of a crapshoot to figure out if any given one of them is going to stick. And despite the fact that Lawmakers was generally well received and generally popular, people just didn't flock to that game as they do to some others. Radical Heights, the other game that Boss Key put out, actually just came out very recently, and it was a battle royale game, which is, of course, the new hotness right now. All developers everywhere are making a battle royale game, is what it seems like. And it was definitely more in the Fortnite camp than the Battlegrounds camp, in that it wasn't taking it very seriously. It was very brightly colored. The graphics were very kind of cel-shaded looking. It had this over-the-top, just cartoon violence and nonsense, and had an almost kind of Smash TV-esque game show conceit to it. So it had some interesting things going on. It was bringing some interesting things to the Battle Royale table. And again, people seemed to kind of dig the game, but it wasn't setting the world on fire, and it wasn't pulling people away from, Fortnite and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds to pull them into this new Battle Royale game. So again, as Cliff said in his statement kind of closing down the studio today, it was too little too late, despite the fact that people were kind of into this new game. And Cliff says that he's going to be taking some time off just to kind of reflect and figure out kind of where he stands and spend some time with his family. He's been running the studio for so long now. He's going to take a little bit of a break. He does say he'll be back to making games. He's not through, he's not finished. He's just taking a little bit of a break off. And honestly, this shutting down of Boss Key is sad news, but also kind of unsurprising news. Both of their games were kind of followers in the genre that they were trying to play in, attempting to capitalize on genres that had very popular games already in them, without actually doing all that much innovation in those genres. They had little things here and there, but for the most part, it was kind of another one of those games. Both of the games looked very cool, reviewed very well, but trying to find an audience in 2 of the most entrenched video game audiences out there, class-based shooters and battle royale games, is not an easy task. Players that are interested in those genres tend to stick to a single game and play it for years, often only stopping when the sequel to their beloved game comes out, and sometimes not even then. So for a game to come out and not to bring a ton new to the table and to draw players away from some of those huge popular games is rare. It's something that is rarely going to happen, and you're really just rolling the dice to see if you can do that. I'm not to say games don't do that. There are games that have done that in the past. Fortnite did that with Battlegrounds, but they have to bring something very innovative to the table. And it also helps if the big game in the genre tends to be kind of buggy and doesn't run super well. There's opportunity there. But in both of these cases, there are established, well-running versions of other games in those two genres. So getting something new to stick just wasn't really going to happen. And honestly, game development studios succeeding is sadly more of an exception than the rule, at least according to all of the closures of studios that we see. I'm happy there are people in the world like Cliff Bleszinski. He's awesome. I really look up to him in the games that he's put out, but I don't envy his position of, forming a studio, trying to come up with new game ideas, putting these games out, trying to get them an audience, and trying to run a business over top of your beloved video games, and figuring out a way just to keep the lights on while getting to do the thing that you love. It's certainly not an envious task, but nonetheless, Cliff is an extremely talented game dev, and I hope he takes the time that he needs to kind of get his head right. I hope he comes back with refreshed ideas. I hope he has awesome plans for games that he wants to make, because I love some of the games that he's made in the past, and I hope he can continue to make awesome stuff despite the closing of this studio. So that's going to do it for Pretty Dece for today. Thank you very much for joining me to talk about the sad closing of Boss Key Productions. If you liked this show and you want to see more, new episodes of Pretty Dece premiere weekdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/PrettyDeceShow. You can also check out the daily episodes on the podcast feed or the YouTube channel at PrettyDeceShow.com/video. Finally, catch me on Facebook and Twitter at Pretty Dece Show.